What's going on, everyone? It's Gabe again from Steele Hyundai. It's the first day of spring, and this is a rather special one. I've been waiting to do this one for a while. This is my walk around of the 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 5. I am very excited to make this video. The Ioniq 5 is Hyundai's main fully electric vehicle. There are so many interesting things and details about it that this is going to be a very long video. I'm going to struggle to keep it under half an hour because there's just so much I want to show you. Starting as per usual in the driver's seat, the very first thing you'll notice is there's no Hyundai badge in the steering wheel, but yet there is. These four dots here, illuminated when the car is on, are what the letter H is in Morse code. Just a fun little Easter egg for people who might know Morse code as an interesting hobby. Not that you can tell that I've turned it on, but the vehicle is now on. And you might notice the dashboard is one unbroken piece. So on the right, infotainment system, very high quality, very fast response. And underneath it, climate control, some physical buttons, which Hyundai actually recently announced they're going to keep, going against the market trend, and that might be the best news I've heard in ages. Right in front of you, you've got this digital dash display with the picture of the vehicle, what gear you're in, reverse, drive, park, etc. All sorts of other information that I'll break down later. And then to the left of that, this here is a magnet. So if you need a place to put your phone and you have a magnet in your case, you've already got a phone mount. Looking at this display, you can see on the bottom left, it shows the percentage of the battery left. Even with only 18% left, there's still 75 kilometers of range. It tells me that the parking brake is on. It tells me what level of regenerative charging I'm at, my speed, the distance set on the radar cruise control, all sorts of other things. The steering wheel itself has a very familiar layout, just slightly tuned up for the Ioniq 5. So you've got your menu button here, cruise control, lane keeping assist, the distance in the radar cruise as usual. Drive mode is now here rather than in the center console between eco, sport, and normal. And then your radio and voice control settings are there. The two paddles on the back of the steering wheel control the regenerative braking level. So the one on the right turns it down and the one on the left turns it up. And if you dial those all the way up, you can come to a complete stop without touching the brake pedal. And it will increase the amount of power you get from using the brakes. Below the wiper stalk behind the wheel is actually the gear selector. So you push a button on the end here to engage park, and you just twist it all the way down for reverse and all the way up for drive. And this is the reason that there's no gear selector or drive mode or anything here. There's nothing here. Because this doesn't have a drive shaft and transmission like a gas-powered or diesel-powered car, Hyundai decided to do something unique and offer far more room. Cup holders, chargers, and things like that here and down there. Vastly more storage. And then, because there's nothing in the way, you just pop the center console up and you can slide with your feet here from the driver's seat to the passenger seat as easily as if you were in the back. Moving to the back seat, you've got this nice roomy back seat with these really pretty air vents on either side. Very simple door card. And two more USB chargers in the back. Looking at the front from the back seat, you can just see just how classy and well appointed the Ioniq 5 is. And this isn't even the top trim level. They only get better from here. Another thing about the Ioniq 5 is this big rear hat. And it's a multi-level floor as well. This is to be just as flush with the rest of it as possible. You can pull this up and you've got extra stuff down here, and there's another level below that. The Ioniq 5's front seats are fully electrically adjustable, and one thing I really like is the unique Ioniq 5 door sill protector as well. There's another little detail that Hyundai thought of. The Ioniq 5 boasts many and more of the class-leading safety systems found in other Hyundais. One of the more obvious ones in the mirror is a little warning icon for a vehicle approaching in your blind spot. And then if you look down here, this locks the rear windows so children can't play with them. And it also means it activates the child safety locks in the rear. And because of all the different sensors built into the Ioniq 5, when you press that, even if it's unlocked, if the car senses an approaching vehicle and the child tries to open the door, they can't until you hit it again. One of the clever safety systems found in the Ioniq 5, it's hard to see now, but right above the rear view mirror is actually a forward-facing camera, which assists in things such as the lane keeping assist, cruise control, all sorts of stuff. This graphic here shows the rear view camera. When I turn the wheel, it shows where the back of the car is in blue versus the angle the wheels are facing in yellow. And if you look here, you can see all the different directions the rear radar is facing, superimposed on the rear of the Ioniq 5. Working our way outside, the Ioniq 5 boasts very unique and I think very pretty styling. It reminds me of a Group B rally car from the 80s, just modernized. You've got these gorgeous square LED headlights set inside the grille. And then one thing you might not be able to tell, on higher trim models, this silver inlay here is also a light, but you can never tell until it's on. At the back, you've still got that retro futuristic styling with these square LED tail lights. One cool feature I like about the Ioniq 5, because aerodynamics matters so much, when the doors are locked, the handles are flush, but when you unlock it, they pop out. One way that EVs increase their range is to decrease their drag, because drag increases the amount of power needed to punch through the air. And a really big culprit for that is wheels, so Hyundai has thought of that. You'll see many EVs use really solid wheels because they invite less turbulent air and therefore reduce drag, but Hyundai are pretty unique because they don't look like a solid piece until you get a really good look at them. One cool feature I like about the Ioniq 5 is how you open the charging port. So if you look on the button on the key fob here, you just hold that and it pops up. And then looking at it closely, you can see your level 1 and 2 charger. Underneath here is a cover for the level 3 charger. And then this LED staged light here that matches the head and tail lights shows how far along the charging is. You can either press this button or the button on the key fob again to close the panel. Another cool feature is one that I actually have no real way of showing you, but these two panels on the bottom here open up for a heat pump in the battery system. So what that does is it maintains the optimum temperature for the battery to increase the range and longevity of your charge. A good example of that is on a really cold day. The heat pump, while the car is charging, will actually keep the battery warmer to allow it to charge faster, more efficiently, and hold its charge longer. On a really hot day, it allows the battery to stay cool, meaning that it doesn't burn through its charge as quickly. It's really a really clever system of keeping the battery working at its optimum operating temperature all of the time. One thing I'm sure a lot of you are wondering is, what is the range of the Ioniq 5? I know that was most people's first question when it comes to an electric car. The top model with the longest range can go just shy of 500 kilometers on a single charge. It goes 487 kilometers or 303 miles on a single charge. That's the top model. Lower trim levels have slightly less range, but still more than enough for whatever you would need on your daily commute. And an advantage of an electric vehicle is you can charge it at home. It's like filling up your car with gas overnight before you leave for work every day. So even if you have a 100-kilometer commute, you charge your car up every night, drive to work, 100 kilometers, you drive home, another 100 kilometers, plug it back in, you haven't even used half the battery of the long-range version. Driving this car is amazing. This isn't the first electric vehicle I've ever driven, and it always blows my mind how almost every electric vehicle feels less like an iPad than I would have thought. That being said, it still doesn't feel like a quiet version of a normal car. The silence is almost eerie. You hear a faint whir from the electric motors and very little else. It's incredibly comfortable. The steering, even though it's fully electric, still feels like the direct steering in a manual steering rack. One feature that I've been really enjoying learning about has been the regenerative braking paddles on the back. So right now I have the regenerative braking set to 0. When I'm off of the go pedal, I guess, can't call it gas because it doesn't gas, it just coasts like it would in any other car. When I hit the paddle on the left, I'm at level 1 regenerative braking. Whenever I'm off the throttle pedal, there's a little bit of braking just to get a bit of power in the battery. When I press it again, I'm at level 2 now, which means that there's a bit more braking and a bit more power going back into the battery. Press it a third time and I'm at level 3, as indicated by the thing on the dashboard there. And it means that whenever I'm off of the throttle, I'm braking fairly solidly and putting a lot of juice into the battery, and then hit it one more time, and now it goes from level 3 to I pedal, which means I only need to use the one pedal to drive. I don't need to touch the brake, because whenever I let go of the throttle pedal, the car automatically brakes for me, putting as much juice as possible into the batteries. Being an electric vehicle, the drive modes do different things than on, say, an Elantra N or on a Kona. When I press Eco, it just means that certain systems that you might not be aware that you're using get turned off to preserve that much more energy in the batteries. When I press Normal, it just reverts to whatever the car considers to be normal. Generally speaking, that would be the settings you leave it in, your preferred setup. And when I press Sport, because it's an electric car, all of its power and torque are available instantly. You don't get that in a normal vehicle, and that's the thing I'm most getting used to in electric cars. It's not how quiet they are, it's not the lack of engine noise, it's not anything like that. It's that you're not consciously aware of it gaining acceleration. It's just 100% from the moment you touch it. I would love to demonstrate, but that would be partially unsafe, and also my phone would go flying back when I did that. One thing you might not know about the Ioniq 5 is it is bigger than it looks. It doesn't feel like a big car to drive, it certainly doesn't look like a big car, but it is almost the same size as the Palisade. It actually has a longer wheelbase than the Palisade, which is our 3-row SUV. That thing seats 8 people. And this has a longer wheelbase, which means more room on the inside. That's partially why the front seat is so spacious. This might be the nicest driver's seat I've ever been in any modern car. I've been trying my very best not to just wax lyrical about the Ioniq 5 for 30 minutes. And it is proving very difficult. This car has so many amazing things about it that I can't possibly actually show it all in a video because it'd be so long no one would watch it. So instead, I'm going to encourage you all to come down to the dealership, check one out, see if this would be the EV that would be for you. I know a lot of people are unsure about switching to an electric vehicle. This might be the car that makes you change your mind. It wouldn't be the first time that it has. I will warn you though, these are in such high demand that a brand new one from the factory is a minimum 2-year wait. Just because of how amazing this car is, everyone wants to get their hands on one. So get in while you can because the wait might only get longer. This has been my walk around of the 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 5. This is the first electric vehicle I've tested since I started working at Hyundai, and it won't be the last time I take this car out. I genuinely enjoyed the driving experience. I wish that I could take this car home with me, but unfortunately it's not mine. Like I said before, I can't possibly fit everything in this video that I would like to about this car. I encourage you all to come down and check it out. I hope you enjoy the rest of spring. This is the first day of spring and it looks and feels like it. It's sunny and warm. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day and we'll see you next time.